This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today at the Crawford-Khan announcement press conference by Johnny Nelson. Johnny, how are you? Happy New Year.
You too. Happy to meet you too. I think I've got a little bit old. It was my birthday the other day, so I'm now a 52-year-old man, going grey and bolder. This is intriguing again. The whispers were flying around. We didn't know how true it was, Crawford, until we got so close. And now it's been publicly announced, and again you got to rate him because he's taking some fights. You think, really? But one thing about Amir Khan is when the pressure's on, when he's up against it, that's when he performs his best. Is when he's in with somebody you think he should walk through. That's when mistakes happen. He gets put down, he loses, he gets knocked out. But I think it's been a good fight, and I'll always stick to the fact that saying Amir Khan's one of the fastest fighters I've ever seen.
Where do you stand with this fight? It's no secret that you're a Sheffield boy. You're from the Ingle Gym, famous for bringing through Kell Brook. This isn't the fight that you wanted to see, is it?
No, and I'm quite sure a lot of the people from England didn't either. But it's not a fight you're going to turn your nose up and say I'm not watching it because it's a good fight. It's not a nobody. He's fighting Terence Crawford, so it's a tough fight. And so yeah, of course, gutted. But I've resigned myself to the fact that the Kell Brook fight's never going to happen. So that's buried. That's dead and buried. This one is a good fight. It is a good fight, and you've got to say, Amir's showing some serious cojones, putting himself in a position with someone who people rate as one of the best in the world.
Khan has attracted criticism from certain sections of the boxing fraternity over probably the last few years for not taking the Brook fight. Do you see this as a duck?
It's hard because it is a tough fight and a tougher fight on paper. I don't understand why he wouldn't do the Brook fight. I don't get it because Brook's my boy and I think Khan could beat him. I don't understand the psyche and his reasoning behind it, so I have no idea where the mind's at for that. The mindset is for that. And it looks like it. It does look like it, but it's not as though he's taking a softer touch. You would have said that in his last with his last fight, but I think this one here is it's a good fight. A fight that's tough. So it's just how you look at it.
Which fight do you think presents probably a more realistic proposition of winning for Amir? Is it the Kell Brook fight or is it this fight?
A Kell Brook fight. Kell Brook fight, without a doubt. That's the one where these two have both grown at the same speed. They've both deteriorated. Looking at the last fights at the same pace, so it makes it more even, Stephen. Terence Crawford is up there. Amir Khan isn't what he was. I'm not saying he can't get there again, but we've not seen that in the last few fights. So it's a case of, I think the more realistic one for a win for Khan would have been the Brook one.
Amir Khan returning to Virgil Hunter, which was a surprise. Yeah, you were saying good. What do you make of that overall?
Virgil Hunter is probably one of the best trainers out there at the moment. He's not someone that's been to university just to get his degree and say I'm a strength and conditioning. He's a coach. It's about training the body as well as training the mind, as well as training the attitude. Virgil Hunter is one of the originals. One of the few trainers left. Boxers will understand what I'm saying. You get a coach, a PT, Virgil Hunter is an all-rounder, and for Amir Khan to be with him, that shows commitment because Virgil Hunter is no longer taking any bullshit. He's saying, if you're going to train with me, you are with me. No shooting off to some star-studded red carpet event. You're with me for 4, 5, 3 months, however long it is. And that's why probably I'm assuming they part of the company in the first place. So unless he's willing to play the game and say this is the camp, which I'm assuming he is going to Virgil Hunter, that's the only way I think this relationship works.
I think they parted company because of Virgil's health issues, but that being said, now he's back with Virgil. What kind of changes do you feel that he'll be able to make from, say, example, his last fight against Samuel Vargas?
I think Virgil reminded me what he's capable of doing. Reminded me about defence, remind him about the speed, using the reach, using the footwork, using the pace. He'll remind him of all these things. That's all he has to do, brush him up and remind him. Remind him not to get involved in all when he doesn't have to. And Virgil Hunter has that knowledge to do that. It's not about getting him fit to do, 1,100 metre runs in this training camp. It's about reminding him of what he's capable of doing and showing him this is what you need to do.
Where do you see Kell Brook going from here now? By all intents and purposes, Eddie Hearn told me yesterday that he feels they've missed the boat on that fight. That fight's not going to happen. Something you've already said in this interview. Where would you like to see him go next? There's been the Jeff Horn fight rumoured, the Liam Smith fight. There's also Jesse Vargas at 147.
Yeah, I'd like to see Kell boxing for obviously a light middleweight title. Horn, good fight. Liam Smith domestically, good fight. So there are fights out there for Kell, but it's a case about the ambition of both these fighters. Now, I can't take in this fight as showing ambition or taking advantage of an opportunity. Now, Kell's got to do the same. He's got to show ambition in the opponent he chooses, where he wants to go.
I mean, we've kind of alluded to it and touched on it in this interview already. What fight do you think affords Amir Khan, should he be victorious in either fight, the greater boost to his legacy? A win over Terence Crawford or a win over Kell Brook?
Obviously, domestically for us, we're going to say the win over Kell Brook, because both guys we've seen them both grow and succeed. Terence Crawford is a massive win. So worldwide-wise, you look at the Terence Crawford win. But again, unfortunately, the Brook situation will always overshadow whatever decision, whatever win Khan gets. It's always going to be there, and so that's his decision, how he looks at it.
Just finally, Johnny, can I push you for a prediction?
I think if Khan can keep out of the way, he can pull it off on points. But the problem is he's up against a craftsman. He's up against a surgeon. And I think Crawford is probably too fresh, too skillful, too on top, too on form to let that happen. So I'd say Crawford on the win.
Okay, well, Johnny Nelson, always a pleasure catching up with you. Nice to see you looking so well in 2019. Catch up with you soon.
Thank you.